Sup Shredders, my name is Logan aka Spiderhands and welcome to an SP Reviews, where today we have ourselves a track from an act named Fresh Yesterday titled Mendocino. And if we switch over to here, we have ourselves a track on Spotify and we're going to listen through it from start to finish and we're going to hear what we think. There's also going to be a score ranking bit at the end, just going through some criteria to see what we got out of 10, but in the meantime, let's go. It's a beautiful guitar tone. Love the delays on it.
I want to live in Mendocino, feel the ocean with my hands. You'll never find me, man.
It's just those little keys as a sub layer there are gorgeous. Nice balance of guitar, bass, drums, and vocals.
Nestled deep among the redwood, living life just like I should. Everything is good. We'll take the one and leave tomorrow. You know I would.
Ah, nice backing vocals as well.
You know I would. Pack up things and leave our sorrow. Pack up things and you know I would. You know I would.
Kind of reminds me of the surf rock back in the mid 20th century. I dig it. I like the drum grooves, that kind of stuff, as well as the shimmery kind of guitar arpeggios there, and then the vocal style about just going to Mendocino, leaving all our troubles and then like going on a trip. Nice alternate lead here.
I want to live in Mendocino. Start my mornings with a J. Don't mind when skies are gray. Mendocino, I long for you. Your desolate cliffs, the way they hug the big old blue. We'll take the one and leave tomorrow. You know I would. You know I would. Pack our things and leave our sorrow. You know I would. You know I would.
Nice rise there. Good job. Parallel.
We'll take the one and leave tomorrow. You know I would. You know I would.
It's just a great sort of like contrast between the cymbal the first half of the chorus and then those sort of toms that come in the second.
Pack up things and leave our sorrow. You know I would. You know I would.
And our tempo. That was charming. I'm just going to have a quick listen through the first and second verses just to calibrate a few things and we'll get the score sorted and we'll be right back for the conclusion. Because welcome to the conclusion of my review of this track from an act named Fresh Yesterday titled Mendocino. I was listening through the lyrics again and realized I said initially it was Mendocino, but it was actually Mendocino. Now, What do I think this track is about? I think it's about wanting to live in this place, Mendocino, with like the beach and the water and like the redwood trees and everything like that. And it's about kind of the idea of leaving our troubles behind and going to this new place and kind of, I suppose, finding a sense of peace, if that makes sense. So I think that's kind of dope. I think it's pretty easy to understand. A lot of people will probably be able to relate to wanting to sort of get away from what they're doing and find greener pastures. I think it's a cool story, man. It's nice. The vocals were that was solid. I think that the style we had was nice and melodic, was also been kind of really sort of calm and sort of like approachable. It wasn't too intense. It was very kind of relaxed, but in a way that made sense with a lot of the other instruments within the arrangement as well as the main theme. The backing vocals that we had in some of the chorus parts and stuff like that were lovely as well. They were nice and warm and pad-like, and they were smooth, and they sometimes sort of call and responded with the main vocals, and other times they harmonized together, and I thought there was a nice amount of range there with the vocals overall between the main and side backing. So well done on that front as well. There's a lot of diversity there, and I think I gave the vocals a 7.5, which might not seem that high, but it is. That is a good score for me. You know, I can be pretty sort of feral about the vocals. I think that the track itself, outside of the vocal performance and like the approach, again, the approachability of the style of it and the way it was sort of enacted, the track itself at 3 minutes 30 was incredibly well structured. We had several different solo sections, and amongst like an intro theme there, different chorus sections, like and obviously a couple of verses in there. I thought that was a lot of fun. We had different chord progressions as well. It wasn't just the same thing the entire time. We had variations within the different instrumental performances themselves. They weren't just playing the same thing the entire time. There were changes in intensity there, including that really interesting outro part where things kind of auto-pan from left to right. We had like the talking and the guitar leading aside and everything like that. It was beautiful. Actually, I was really impressed with how they decorated it. You know, it was very good. I think if I talk about a few of the instruments that I really appreciate, I thought the guitar parts there were really sort of pretty. They were somber sounding. A lot of those arpeggios and broken quarter bits were good. They suited the relaxed, sort of chilled out nature of the singer. They colored things really nicely in that mid-range, and they were just really pretty sounding when they went up a bit higher there. The strum parts as well as the sort of slidey bits, again, that surf rock kind of aesthetic there, and some of the chorus parts were dope as well. We had different guitar textures in there as well, different guitar tones to help sort of distinguish them, and I thought that was effective because if you have too much of the same, it can be a bit dull. So well done trying to sort of paint with the colors there. I think that the bass on the low end was nice and smooth as well. It had a body to it, but not too much. It was nice and solid in that low end and supported the guitar harmonies very, very well. The drums provided a wonderful sense of pace there. They're very articulate in the quarters, eighths and sixteenths there. We knew when to play and when not. We pocketed when need be. We had some interesting sort of snare and tom fill bits. I especially like the chorus section where in the sort of first half of it, you'd have like cymbal-led stuff, and the second half, the toms and everything like that would come through as well. You know, that was really cool. The keys as well, which were more of a sub-layer at the start initially, I thought that was wonderful how they just kind of sparkled and they meant to upper range there. They played like a note or like a couple of notes, but it was enough and amongst everything else for it to be meaningful. We didn't oversaturate the track with different ingredients there. We knew to sort of keep those core elements viable and present whilst adding a little bit more sometimes and like shifting things up in order to keep it continuously sort of evolving and intriguing. I think when you add those sort of main elements into a track where like there's enough variety structurally, the vocals were handled well, and then the instrumental parts, which the performance across the range was great. I mean, like the key part that we had, the solo part that we had in the first sort of solo section was wonderfully phrased there. It was very colorful. It suited the different chords and sort of bass lines very, very well there. We danced in amongst the scales and modes eloquently. The guitar solo we had later on as well was just, you know, it was really well handled. You know, it never overplayed. It was very loyal, again, similarly to the organs, to a like. Actually, no, there was some sort of like parallel majors or minors. There might have been some chromatics and stuff like that to add a little bit of sort of like manipulation of emotions in the nicest way possible. It's just a nice way to sort of like play with expectations, and it was fun. It was fun. Like, I think a little bit of sort of like perkiness and spiciness in a chilled out track can be good just for a little bit of juxtaposition, a little bit of contrast. But it was done the way where it sort of was more in a major direction, so it wasn't like it sort of brought it down or anything like that. And so I think the combination of those different sort of like solo sections with the rhythm backing and all that and the leads on top just created an overall a track with an overall theme of like I think the surf, the beach rock kind of thing kind of suits into the way that we were talking about going to Mendocino with the beaches and the ocean and everything like that. You can kind of imagine someone going there. I think it's very important stylistically to try and sort of match it with what you're writing a story about. It's just very much easier for listeners to identify with it and kind of sit there. It connects, the dots join, and I think that part of it was just the guitar tones, the different sort of drum patterns, like kick, snare. That's very sort of like that style of music there. That drum group is like very common, so they're very aware of what's appropriate, whilst also trying to keep their own sort of flavor on it. I think that in addition to that, we didn't have any sort of awkward, harsh textures within these chord progressions. There were some extensions to sort of soften the major and minor intensities there, triad-wise, but it was never enough to sort of disorient or confuse. And I think that ultimately it's just a really lovely song to listen through with a lot of warmth in that mid-range there due to the tones, but also the chord choices and stuff like that. I don't think there's a note out of place. It's just incredibly well done. But the studio recording, mixing and mastering was also pretty solid. I really appreciated how the vocals were done alongside the backings, as well as the guitar, bass, drums, and organs. They were nicely leveled. In the frequency spectrum, there were no weird resonant frequencies, and things were nice and wide in the stereo field, with even a little bit of like panning of stuff from left to right. I think that was really, really slick. And I think that in addition to that, we had a situation where the leveling was just tight, and there was dynamic range. Things were not the same loudness all the time. We even had a tempo bit where things kind of came down a little bit, got a little bit slower and slower at the end there. So we could not only play together as a band, but also sort of shift and change things to kind of be like more of a kind of a smoother stop. That makes it became more of an atmosphere near the end rather than like a track we were going through. And I think that made it a really pleasant experience. But it was nice now with that pumping, so the bus compression and limiting was handled. I think I gave the score an overall score of 8 out of 10. I gave the song an overall score of 8 out of 10. So that's a very good score for me. I don't often give songs that, but thank you very much for watching my review of this track from an act named Fresh yesterday, titled Mendocino. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, please do go check them out via their various social medias and their Spotify page, and stay cool and stay safe, and please remember to support your local musicians and artists at this point in time, as either help more than ever with all the crazy stuff going on in the world, and I'll catch you in the next review. Spiderhands out.